All right, hey everybody, welcome back. I hope you're all doing well. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for hanging out as always. So I got another gameplay analysis video for you guys. So I jumped on Talishar, recorded a couple games, and we're going to go through them together, talk through my lines, maybe identify some points in the game that I could have done things differently or improved. And so this has been really helpful for me to review my own play patterns and everything like that, and hopefully helpful for you guys if you're trying to pick up the hero. So without further ado, let's take a look. I haven't played Kayo in a while, so this is a game into Kayo. You'll see it's not very long. Kayo tends to be a little aggressive, and so I'm choosing to go a little more defensively, so I chose to equip the Carapace for an extra nice bit of block on equipment. I'm also not going to be running Envelop in Darkness, so I don't really need that Tunic resource. Something I think about is, like, if I'm not on Tunic, or if I'm not Envelop in Darkness, Tunic is only there for to activate creepers for free. Otherwise, like, you know, in a deck that really wants to push aggressive, I definitely don't mind leaning on the defensive side. So then I side in my 8/4 blocks, and in this case I decided to side in Oblivion as well. Make it a little more awkward if we can get to those 6 rune chants. So a bit of a setup turn here. Let's rewind. So we didn't really have a good banished target. So in this case, we chose to just banish the Shadow Puppetry, because the rest we can all play out for value. Like, Shadow Puppetry would be lovely in Arsenal, but I would rather just get the value of these 3 other pieces. So we play out Dirge, turn the 1 rune chant into 3. Play out the 2 Malefic Incantations. We unfortunately don't have an Arsenal or a Rune Gate card that we can float to the next turn. However, we did some like decent setup, so we're floating like maybe like 7-ish value forward into a future turn, and we didn't let our opponent filter. However, they still decide they're going to come out swinging, so they go ahead and play a Blood Rush Bellow. They banished, what did they banish? Smash Instinct, and drew a couple cards. Everything's going to get buffed +2. This is one of the strongest cards I think ever printed, probably. Blood Rush Bellow is absolutely insane. I do love me some Brute. So they present a Mandible Claw. We have a couple extra Funeral Moons. We don't really need the rune chants that these Funeral Moons represent. So to me, they're kind of just blocks in this hand. It's like, the other thing that I kind of like Funeral Moon is if we present Whale and they decide to take damage, we can play Funeral Moon to make a rune chant, but also give us opportunity to take damage, which just increases the value of Deathly Whale. But in this case, I don't mind, depending on what they present, just like sucking up some damage. So now they're presenting a Bear Fangs, and if this Bear Fangs had Go Again, I would be considering blocking with Face Purgatory here, like giving Widespread, Funeral Moon, Face Purg for 8. So we'd soak up most of the damage they're presenting here, but also stripping a card, like if they're trying to go super wide. But this doesn't have Go Again, so it's just a vanilla 9. Like, I could see giving Widespread Annihilation Funeral Moon if I just want to, like, preserve life. But we have a couple rune chants. Deathly Whale, like, I think I definitely want to banish. The thing is, like, we ended our turn on 3, so we could banish Annihilation, play Annihilation, Threatening Hand, Disruption, and still make 2 rune chants on the back end. I don't hate that. So, I don't know. I feel like we have some extra cards here to give up. But it just depends on whether we want to, like, roll rune chants, continue to roll rune chants beyond what we're already going to get from Malefic. I think I'm leaning more and more towards, like, banish Widespread, play Widespread. So we could give Whale and Funeral Moon here, but we'll see what I decided to do in the moment. This is just vanilla damage. So I decided the opposite. So in this case, I decided I'm going to just, I want to float more rune chants. I don't know if this is correct. I think Threatening Hand with Kayo, who wants to, like, keep a bunch of cards in hand, might have been the better option since we had Malefic and we're still going to float rune chants no matter what. So I don't love this decision. I think I should have maybe blocked with Funeral Moon and Deathly Whale in this case. It's just so tempting to keep Whale sometimes, because Whale does represent that like piece that allows our motor or engine to keep going. So in this case, like, I don't hate this decision. It's fine, but I do think that, like, Hand Disruption would have been more threatening here, because here we're making 2 rune chants on the back end no matter what. If they take damage from Deathly Whale, we get 1 more. So we end on 3 rather than 2. I don't know if that makes a big difference. Or with Widespread Annihilation, we'd be threatening their hand, which is definitely more impactful than one rune chant, right? So I think this was incorrect. But these are the things, like, because when I see Deathly Wail, like, that is often the pick, right? So it's important that we continue, like, we can't be complacent. Vynnset is a deck that requires quite a bit of thought. And you know, like, it does help to think about your status in the game. And it's not always Deathly Wail is not always the choice, right? As we could see in that example. So anyways, we are going to end on 3 rune chants rather than 2 because we did choose to play the whale. But again, not a big deal. So we get to play this reduced to rune chant at some point. They're opening with a wild ride for 8 go again. Got buffed by a couple mites that they had built up. They're going to make another mite. So 8 go again. On this turn, like, our only banished target is this other Deathly Wail, so we're definitely going to play Deathly Wail, probably play out Malefic Incantation. Runeblood Incantation is a bit awkward in this hand. So this is also a place where we could look at Face Purg. If we want to gamble a little bit, we could do, like, giving... Incantation is, like, not great in this hand. Either way, I think I might want to block with it, because we don't want to have to pitch to pay the 1. Like, Runeblood Incantation is really only in the deck so we can filter it out with Galaxia. It's a little unfortunate when we draw into it if we're not running Tunic. So there's a world where we Face Purg here and just give Whale, Incantation, and Face Purg. Okay, there we go. That's what we're doing. And our gamble paid off. So we did draw into a Phantom Wraith, which is going to be our banished target. But if we didn't draw into a banished target, we would have been a bit in a rough spot there. But hopefully this does help to... well, they still get to go 2 wide here and draw a card for Arsenal. We're just going to go throw this reduced to rune chant out, take 1, make another rune chant up to 4. Then our turn's simple. We banish Phantom Wraith, play Malefic Incantation. So we'll have 3 chants at the end of this turn, present 5 and 6, and continue to roll. So this showcases the power of Malefic Incantation first and foremost. Being able to float rune chants to our next turn is so important, especially if we're on this, like, mid-range defensive plan like we are into Kayo. But anyways, like, reflecting on that last turn just a little bit more, like, the Face Purg was definitely risky. I don't know if that was the call. Like, we could always float, like, Face Purg is always going to have value in a future turn as well. I don't know, the incant just made that hand awkward, right? Which is what sort of, like, incentivized that block. But anyways, I'll have to continue to reflect on that. But I don't hate the decision. Well, we definitely got, you know, vindicated by drawing into our Runegate card, but it was like a 50-50 shot, right? Probably. So now they're coming in with a Wild Ride with Go again once again. Our turn, we have a clear banished target in Widespread Ruin. Another Malefic Incantation that we're going to want to play out. So we're seeing our Malefic Incantations early, which is making this game go quite smoothly. I don't know that we need the Machinations, because if we play Machinations, all we can follow the Widespread Ruin up with is a Flail, which is fine. The Call, I wouldn't mind holding on to it, but it's also, like, not super potentially impactful in this hand. So Machinations and Call are 2, like, potential block targets. I'm making the read here that they're clearly going to present something else with 3 cards left in hand. So I'm choosing to take this and just see what they present. And I'm looking to hold this Call back as long as possible. So the Machinations I definitely don't need. The Call I could use. So I'm just waiting to see what else they present. So now a Bear Fangs for 8. It's just a vanilla 8. They're going to stuff an Arsenal. So, yeah, this is a tough one. Like, we can either soak up 3 or soak up 5. There's no point. It's just vanilla damage. So soak up 8 and hold Cull to threaten their hand on the next turn. I don't hate that. I feel like maybe we should just take the 8 here. Because Cull could just be a 3 block, or it could represent more if we threaten their hand. So I do choose to just take this down to 19. So, and we're still going to be able to present 10, making 2 chants on the back. And if they choose to take some damage here, we are probably going to be able to call them, which hopefully, you know, makes their turn a little more awkward. They're not going to really love to block here. They're blocking with Scowling Fleshbag. We can call in response. But we chose not to, which is a bit strange. I feel like we probably just call in response, right? Because otherwise, what are we doing? Unless we're just trying to, like... It's intimidated face down, right? I don't know. I guess we're trying to conceal that information that we have call, but I think we just play call here. So we get it back at the end of our turn. All we're going to be able to... Oh, we banished a Deathly Whale. So we got a Deathly Whale off top when we closed Chain on Rune, which is great. We're not going to be able to play it now, but that is a great little piece. So we should be able to get the call back in hand. We're going to put it in our arsenal. I still don't know about that. I think maybe I just didn't realize that we could have played it in response, because they did take the Rune Chance, which allows us to play it at instant speed. Like, it'll be impactful on the next turn too, but like there's just no real point in us keeping it back. So they would have still been able to do this. We wouldn't really have prevented this. However, we would have been able to... yeah, they wouldn't have had an arsenal, right? And this we need to prevent if we want to keep our call. So this also makes our decision making a little more awkward. Thankfully, we have a couple Rune Gate cards, Eloquent Eulogy, and Deathly Whale. But again, this call is kind of being more awkward than, like, I don't know. I feel like we should have just played it out. So there's also a potential Eloquent Eulogy call line there. I don't know. So we're choosing to hold back the second Deathly Whale. So banish the second Deathly Whale. So what is this line now? Present red Deathly, hope they take at least one Rune Chance, succumb to temptation, Vexing Quillhand Whale with a call in there somewhere else. We can double Whale if we want to break Quillhand, as long as they take Arcane. But if they present the Arcane, it's going to be a little more awkward. So we make one Rune Chant, we present 3, and they do have a blue, so they're going to go ahead and soak up these Rune Chants, which makes our decision making a little more difficult. So if we still want to go too wide here, our only option is to pitch to Creepers. So I guess we pitch the Call to Creepers, the Succumb to restore our action point. So again, I think we're a bit shafted with this call, because now we're just going to end up pitching it. So we never did get value from it. I should have just responded to the Scowling Fleshbag in hindsight, but that's okay. So they're going to block out 5, which is provides more incentive to do the Creepers in the Succumb. So we have to Creepers in the Succumb because they didn't take Arcanes. We can't play it at instant speed. Creepers will allow us to do the same thing. It'll still restore our action points since it has Go again. It will still threaten their hand. So I think that's what we need to do here. So I'm just making sure we have an extra Rune Chant so that we could follow this up if we break Quillhand. And we're going to go ahead and activate Creepers, pitching the Call, throwing in the Succumb to Temptation, restoring our action point, and presenting a Scary On hit. We will get to look at their hand unless they react. They did not. So now we take the Bear Fangs, leave them with a blue, hope they don't have something scary in their arsenal. Break the Chain, and break Vexing Quillhand. And present this Whale for 4 and 5, so we will still be able to end on a Rune Chant. The second Deathly Whale is also going to make us a Rune Chant. They decide to pitch their blue to soak up some of the Rune Chants, but they'll still have to take 5 down to 9, and we will move on. So unlikely they'll be able to do anything on this turn. We clumped a little bit into our D-React, so all we can do this turn is banish a Widespread Ruin and present the Widespread Ruin for 2 and 6. And then arsenal one of these Sink Belows. They did take the Rune Chant, so we are going to be able to float our Spellbound Creepers a little bit longer. They're going to take 2 more down to 5. They will lose the top of their deck, which is a Smash Instinct blue. We're going to stuff this Sink Below. So we have a couple defensive pieces here. It would feel really good if they played a Pulping right now. We could shut it down with that Sink Below in our arsenal. They're going to open with a Wild Ride. So looking at my hand, I'm going to banish this Deathly Delight. We do have a Rune Chant, so we don't really need to make another Rune Chant on Haunting Rendition. But we have a lot of block here. So I think the line for us is like Machinations, Delight, Flail. It's pretty good. So we can block with the Hunting Rendition and the 2 Sink Belows. So in this case, I'm choosing to sink the Machinations just to see if we can get something more impactful. We did draw into a Whale, so now that incentivizes us using the Hunting Rendition to make a Rune Chant so that we have 3. And now we can block with the Delight. Oh, I think I got the timing of this. So we already took the damage, and I decided to discard the Hunting Rendition. I should have discarded the Hunting Rendition before the damage resolved. I don't know if I realized that I did that. So I still only have 1 Rune Chant because the Hunting Rendition didn't ping. So if they would have just ended their turn there, that would have been a huge punish. Thankfully, they are presenting another 6 that we're going to get our 2 prevention on. So we get to just block this outright with the Sink Below, sinking the Delight to see if we can get something more spicy. And we draw into a Sonata Galaxia that we're not really going to be able to do much with because it's not going to go again with only 3 Rune Chants. So I think we just have to Arsenal it. So present the Whale for 3 and 6. But they're in single digits. That's the thing about like Kayo or any like really aggro like Azalea. Any deck that doesn't really want to block. When we get them in single digits or like decks that want to like hold their hand because they get more value on attack. Well, yeah, another way of saying they don't want to block. That was an interesting choice. Let me just go back here. So I'm choosing to take the turn off, which is pretty questionable because of their single digit life. So instead of swinging the Flail, which I could have done here, I'm deciding to play out the Sonata Galaxia to just fetch for a Malefic Incantation, set up. But like we're at 15 and Kayo can do crazy stuff. They don't quite have a 5-card hand, but if they like drew into a Blood Rush Bellow or something, like this turn can still pop off pretty hard. And that would make us sad. So I think the call was swing with Whale here and stuff the Sonata Galaxia in Arsenal. Yeah, I don't like this because we're also sacrificing creepers here by not swinging. So I think this was a mistake. I should have swung or just, thrown a Whale because we'd be presenting 3 and 6 while they're at 5. They would have to give us 2 cards probably minimum. They also don't have any armor. So this was a mistake for sure. I guess I'm just like trying to set up for the kill, but yeah, I don't know. I don't like this decision making. So they're discarding an Agile Windup to make an Agility and a Might. They're playing a Beast Within. So luckily they didn't really have anything crazy. And we just get to go 4 and 6 Widespread Annihilation, 2 on the back and sit on the Whale. So we didn't get hard punished here. But yeah, I was definitely wrong. So anyways, Malefic Incantation, Annihilation to threaten their hands. We're coming in for 4 and 6. They basically just have to give us their hand. Otherwise, they're going to lose a card. So we'll see what they do with the Rune Chants first. They drew into a yellow, so they're going to give us a yellow first, block the first 2 Rune Chants. They took 1, they took 2 Rune Chants, and now 6. So this is, well... So why didn't they just pitch the other card? Because they're going to lose that. Maybe they don't know what Widespread Annihilation does. Unless it's well, even if it's a red, they still get 1 value from it, right? Because in this case, when we close the chain, they're just going to get 0 value from that card in hand. It was a blue. So they definitely should have pitched it. So they should be at 5. But we misplayed a couple times. They misplayed 2. It's fine. It's just practice. But anyways, I'm glad... Like even a straightforward game like KO, clearly we can make mistakes. We're now very much getting paid off. I don't think they're going to survive this turn. So we are going to be able to utilize finally this Deathly Whale that we have preserved. So we did get paid off for the decision we made a couple turns ago. Not to say it was the correct decision, but we're definitely getting paid off here. We're 1 Rune Chant shy from the 2 Malefics and 3 Rune Chants to play Oblivion, so we're not going to be able to get Oblivion out, but in this case, it's not going to matter. We are going to Shadow Puppetry, take the damage, 1 Unpreventable, 2 and 7 go again. When we close the chain, we'll be able to follow it up with 2 and 6. So I think they're definitely dead here. So they are clashing of might and swinging big Taking 1, we'll take a look at the top of our deck. Phantom Banshee, sure, that's 1 extra damage for us. Break the Chain, come in for 4 and 7, and they are extra super dead. They say good game, good game. But that was cool. Who knows? Kayo might make a resurgence. The meta's about to get shaken up. Zen and Enigma at time of recording are on their way out. They are both a sneeze away from being LL, so they will LL during the first week of ProQuest. And that's going to shake up the meta a little bit. So it's cool to run into Kayo. Kayo still can do scary stuff for sure. I think they are lagging a little bit behind. And I do think that, I'm not overly concerned about Kayo if we know how to play into them. But that's not an excuse for sloppy gameplay. So there was a couple points in the game there where I think I made incorrect decisions. So it's still important to, get some practice in these heroes that are a little bit less represented right now because they're not going anywhere anytime soon, and you never know when they can make a resurgence. So fun game into KO nonetheless. I hope you guys learned something from that. I certainly did. And thanks for watching as always. We'll chat soon. Cheers.